Well, good Sunday morning, friends. Mark Holmes here, of course, with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo, as well as Joe Bear in the house. And as always, I want to thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, this literally does not work. So let's get open for business here, and let's wake up the football gods here on this Sunday where the drama never, ever ends when you are with the Dallas Cowboys. We got more on the Stefan Diggs situation in Buffalo, and is Josh Allen worried? But before I get to that, this came for me yesterday from Jesse Rios, and I have no idea what this is. I want to check this out. It says fragile, handle with care. I'm always so excited when I get something. You order stuff on Amazon, and you know that you're getting something, and you, even though you know what it is, you're still excited. Oh, wow. Wow, does this take me back? Wow. This reminds me of growing up. These are, classic editions. The Dallas Cowboys Official Weekly. My dad used to have a subscription. Look, Jimmy Johnson's corner here. My dad used to have a subscription to the Dallas Cowboys Weekly. And, this is where you don't realize how fortunate we are, actually how cursed we are. See, it used to be there was very little news that you got. It wasn't like you have, ESPN and all of the channels and Fox Sports 1 and all the talking heads and all the opinion shows and stuff. You had Sports Illustrated, which came out once a week. You had the Dallas Cowboys Weekly, and, of course, you had to wait for that to come out. You weren't getting that in real time as soon as the game came, was over with, where you see the highlights. The only thing there was the George Michael Sports Machine, which was the forerunner of ESPN. On Sunday nights from 11:30 after the news until 12 o'clock, he would go through and he would show highlights. And that was it. Basically, if you weren't a local team, you didn't see coverage of the other teams around the NFL like that, except for the NFL Today, which was, 12:30 to 1 before the 1 o'clock kickoff, 30-minute show. And so shout out to Jess. I appreciate that, because these are truly classics. These are from January 15th, 1994, November 93. Wow. September 95. Appreciate that, man. I'm definitely going to have to take care of those as well. And also, too, we're closing in on $2,500 on the GoFundMe for the Dax Faith Fight Finish Foundation, Stand Up in Cancer, mental wellness, and everything else, that we're going to be presenting him a check next weekend. So shout out to Patrick Robinson, Lynn Goddard, Pete Canella, Quenisha Gibson, Sheila Neal, Daniel Hernandez, Jamal Watkins, Nick Capps, Stacy Schubert, Ray Allen, there's so many of you, Tony Lopez, Valerie Conway, Yolanda Fletcher, Perron Anderson, Patrick Foley, John Thorne, Jared Hoover, Daniel Burke, Daniel Kennedy, Jason Rempro. So here's what we're going to be doing. The plaque that I've made to present to Dak, we're going to engrave all of your names on the back of it, so that way you're getting your name and your donation is recognized by Dak Prescott and something that he'll actually take home. So anyway, all right, 4:30 today we'll be doing our vent call-in live stream. If you're a channel member, hit the Zoom link that we'll put in the description, in the community tab, so that way you can be part of the conversation, because we got a whole lot of venting to do. All right, so unless you've been up under a rock, yesterday was an interesting day, because we got Diggs and Diggs talking about wanting to play together. And it seemed like there might be a little bit of something going on. Diggs may end up seeing all this money that's going around for wide receivers and say, maybe I want some of that. Maybe they can show me some love. Now, remember what I told you. You have to be careful what you hear. This is an interesting piece because this is where you get caught. I get so many people that say, "Oh my God, I heard Bobby Wagner's coming to town," and I said, I saw it on Twitter, and it's like, okay, check the sources first. Let's go back and look and see the person, because if you happen to be on Twitter, you saw this. The Cowboys have been on the phone with the Bills today discussing a potential deal to bring Pro Bowl wide receiver Stefan Diggs to Dallas. There's some momentum there. And you're like, oh, shit, here we go. And you look at the person who tweeted that, Jeff Schultz. His handle is Jeff Schultz, NFL. Who? Okay. Let's dig a little deeper here at Jeff Schultz, NFL. Who is he? Jeff Schultz, father of 5, husband of 1, football, beer, barbecue, and a reporter for the Atlantic, Dallas, Fort Worth. But he only has 114 followers? So this is also the same guy who posted this. Bobby Wagner is scheduled to visit the Star on Monday. Dallas will have some more money to get the deal done, but I'm told that Wagner is willing to take less money to reunite with Dan Quinn. Oh, that was March 11th. Oh. Yeah. Okay. And you see one of these things. If this turns out to be true, you should have more than 28 followers. He went up from 7 about an hour ago. Okay. Guys, that's what you got to look for, because people know we're thirsty.
I say it again, you've been had. You've been took. You've been hoodwinked, bamboozled, led astray, run amok. This is what he does.
Yes, we've been bamboozled again. However, I will say this much right now. Here's an interesting piece to this. If you were listening to a cryptic message that happened like 3 days ago with Diggs, okay, and kind of set the Bills world kind of like, what the fuck's going on? And then, of course, Trayvon saying, I've always wanted to play with my brother, and wouldn't 14 coming here being nice, to kind of stir the pot a little bit. Here's where it gets interesting is Josh Allen seemed to be a little worried about it. Josh Allen actually, at the end of this tweet thread, said no. So it's definitely got his attention. And here's what's kind of funny, because we're always told that Dak sucks and Amari Cooper is the reason why. Dak is any good. We always hear that kind of rhetoric. Here's what's kind of interesting, because the same thing can be said about Josh Allen. Because look at Josh Allen's numbers before he got Diggs. Seriously. Take a look. 67 rating, 85. Gets Diggs, gets almost 1,500 yards more. His rating goes up 22 points. That's a pretty big jump up, wouldn't you say? I'm just saying. So as we talk about Dak Prescott without Amari Cooper, I bet Josh Allen is thinking about life without Stefan Diggs as well. So, yeah, I would definitely say that Stefan Diggs is a game changer. And if you believe that, if you're the Dallas Cowboys, understanding that you just got rid of a receiver that was making $22 million, And you got Stefan Diggs, a guy who's had over the last 2 years 1,535 yards, 8 TDs, and 1,225 yards and 10 TDs. That might not be a bad one to try and say, okay, that's a game changer. Now, do I think that'll happen? Nah, I don't think it'll happen. I don't think it'll happen. But, it's just comical to me how one-sided when anything happens with Dak. And to prove that point, again, shout out to all you guys that share stuff to me. This is an interesting take. This is the Cow Turd on his podcast talking about the Cowboys and Dak losing support, question mark. I just want to listen to a few minutes of this because this is going through the offseason. And I'm not sure, as bad as the offseason has been, if it's really that bad as we think.
Cast with Ed Werder. I have never felt the Cowboys are poorly run. I never have. I think they're competently run and have had a fairly keen eye on draft day the last several years. But I got to be honest, weapons, O-line, pass rush all feel worse this morning. I feel like, Matt, they got caught flat-footed a little bit in this free agency period. That's my perspective from the outside. You got boots on the ground in Dallas. Does it feel like that to you a little?
I think that's accurate. And what really got my attention was what happened. It was almost like I had gone on a spring break trip. It was almost like the Cowboys had gone on one too. The Randy Gregory situation was, they can try to explain it away. It was a major embarrassment to the organization, the way it went down. And with the backdrop of the family drama, the Rich Dalrymple voyeurism charges, allegations, as well as an embarrassing story for Jerry that he apparently has a child that no one's known about out there and has maybe been making some payments but had not much of a relationship with, if any. When you weigh everything that's going on, I think it made the Cowboys look even worse. And one of the things, I think when you think they have competent, and I would agree with you up to a certain extent. I think some of these drafts have been okay. But one of the reasons Jerry loves being on so much and loves being at the combine, that sometimes I think we get confused by his accessibility is like it equates to some level of competence. And I don't know if that's always correct. And I will say the one to me, now Jerry has to be embarrassed about all this other stuff out there. But I think some of the negative stuff that happened with the on-the-field free agency type stuff falls on Stephen. And I think Stephen is going to have to answer for some of these things. And right now, when you look at what everybody else is doing, and some of these Cowboys, by the way, you said the O-line, they've ended up on the Miami Dolphins O-line. You look at what some of the other teams have done, and the Cowboys don't seem to be keeping up. So I think the criticism is accurate and necessary.
You know, the Brian Schottenheimer employment as special consultant, it feels kind of desperate. I mean, honestly, from the outside, I'm like, listen, man, they've had a rough couple months. Schottenheimer was just run out of Jacksonville. I mean, I don't know. I maybe it's the Zeke contract. The league is becoming a pass rush and weapons league. I look at Dallas today, and to me, they're not a top 15 team in the league. I mean, seriously, top of my head.
Bullshit. Go ahead.
Rams,
Okay.
Bucks in the NFC. Bills, Baltimore, Cleveland, Pittsburgh, Cincinnati. I think today, Denver, Chargers, Raiders, San Francisco. I mean, I start adding these teams up. Am I too negative? I feel like they've taken a major step back.
I was really hoping you would just name all the players from those rosters. I'm really mesmerized by your ability to do that. But the only place I think you're maybe being a bit too negative, and I don't really have any problem with anybody being negative about the Cowboys, but is that they really only lost one member of
There
the
you go.
defense.
Yeah.
I mean, we can debate the Amari Cooper thing and how much of a loss that was. But on defense, Randy Gregory is gone. He had 6 sacks last season, and he looked really good, and that is an embarrassment, what happened. But that embarrassment probably shouldn't overshadow the fact that they bring DeMarcus Lawrence back. We'll see what Fowler brings. He's been a decent pass rusher. They brought all their safeties back, and they've brought their pretty much the rest of the defensive line and linebackers. So I think probably the most dramatic improvement in the identity of the team became a big play scoring defense.
There you go.
And I don't think, Colin, that's changed that much.
All right, we're going to leave it right there because Colin Cowherd, of course, goes through his, doom and gloom with the Cowboys. But it'll be funny because by training camp, they're going to tell us that we've got a Super Bowl roster. And I will say this, for me, the funny thing about the Dallas Cowboys it seems like when the Cowboys are expected to do great things, we usually fall on our ass. It's usually when we're not expected to and the microscope is off of us that the Dallas Cowboys actually play better. Now, for me, losing Randy Gregory at the moment, it hurts. But I do see some positives from this and opportunities. And I'll go in later on, at least what I think the Cowboys are thinking. I think the Cowboys are looking at this draft and saying, yeah, we don't have a high pick that we're going to be able to necessarily get a Micah Parsons in it. But there's a lot of talent in positions that you normally don't have an opportunity to get players in at 24. And that is game-changing offensive, defensive linemen, and wide receivers. And I think that the Cowboys, what they did was they looked and said, Lyle Collins, he's not the same guy. That's a big pile of money for him. And Connor Williams, he never panned out the way we want. We can replace those guys in the draft. And as far as Amari goes, I think that was just one of those ones that Amari Cooper for the Cowboys, it was personal, and they feel like he's too up and down. In some games you can't count on him. And they figure this draft has a lot of receivers as well, and maybe we end up getting somebody else that can give us some production. But we'll see where it all goes. And that's what I've got for you this morning. I hope you guys tune in today, 4:30. That's literally 5 hours from now. Wow, don't have much time to get stuff going here. But 5 hours from now, we'll be doing our live stream, and I hope you guys tune in for us. And with that being said, we're going to get out of here.
Our coach here, and as always, I want to thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Sports Report.